The Great Pirates, Part 1, by Humongous. Quote, "They're all the same. I'll show you politics in America. Here it is, right here. I think the puppet on the right shares my beliefs. I think the puppet on the left is more to my liking. Hey, wait a minute. There's one guy holding up both puppets." Unquote. Bill Hicks. Quote, "Now my grandmother was a wonderful person. She taught me how to play the game Monopoly. She understood that the name of the game is to acquire. She would accumulate everything she could, and eventually she became master of the board. And then she would always say the same thing to me. She'd look at me and she'd say, 'One day, you'll learn to play the game.' One summer I played Monopoly almost every day, all day long. And that summer, I learned to play the game. I came to understand the only way to win is to make a total commitment to acquisition. I came to understand that money and possessions, that's the way that you keep score. And by the end of that summer, I was more ruthless than my grandmother. I was ready to bend the rules if I had to win that game. And I sat down with her to play that fall. I took everything she had. I watched her give her last dollar and quit in utter defeat. And then she had one more thing to teach me. Then she said, 'Now it all goes back in the box. All those houses and hotels, all the railroads and utility companies, all that property and all that wonderful money. Now it all goes back in the box. None of it was really yours. You got all heated up about it for a while, but it was around a long time before you sat down at the board, and it will be here after you're gone. Players come, players go. Houses and cars, titles and clothes, even your body. 'Cause the fact is that everything I clutch and consume and hoard is going to go back in the box, and I'm going to lose it all. You have to ask yourself, when you finally get the ultimate promotion, when you've made the ultimate purchase, when you buy the ultimate home, when you have stored up financial security and climbed the ladder of success to the highest rung you can possibly climb it, and the thrill wears off, and it will wear off, then what? How far do you have to walk down that road before you see where it leads? Surely you understand, it will never be enough. So you have to ask yourself the question, what matters? Unquote. John Ortberg. The sails filled with precious wind the way a gluttonous man's gut does a platter of pudding. Like so many times before, the open ocean awaited the mariners. These men had constructed substantial ships and were thus able to travel the seas. This had transformed them into gods, deities known as the Great Pirates, GP. While the remainder of humans were landlocked, confined by oceans surrounding them, the GP wandered effortlessly over the earth. Ergo, they understood the planet was round, during an epoch in which most believed it was flat. The great pirates knew that by sailing long enough in one direction, they would return to their original starting point. Consequently, they realized the celestial body on which they lived was spherical. Possessing such erudition provided the GP great advantage over others, as they could travel to far-off ports and return with exotic treasures, for which they commanded exorbitant fees. To the few aware they existed, the great pirates were apotheosized. It appeared to the landlocked the GP were performing miracles every time they would leave with one cargo and return with something else of alluring nature. The great pirates were anything but caring and kind. Coveting power, they used their asset to enslave those on land. Whilst voyaging overseas, they assigned leadership of these populaces to an exclusive few they referred to as kings. These rulers were to keep the masses under control during the great pirate's absence. In addition, these sultans were not to speak to the people about the GP, who hid behind the scenes, camouflaged from public view. Should emperors reveal the existence of the great pirates, they would be killed. In this way, the GP ruled the masses without the proletariat aware of their presence. So stated R. Buckminster Fuller in his book Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth. Do the great pirates bear a strong resemblance to those currently controlling humanity? Out of the purview of slumbering masses, insidious individuals manipulate us continuously. These entities have access to commodities and technologies the rest of us don't. They bestow us a trinket here and another there, but these pittances pale in comparison to what they possess, either secretly or overtly. Don't believe us? Do you own a thermonuclear weapon? Who knows what these individuals have access to behind closed doors? At this point, they may be so much more technologically advanced than the public, they're what's referred to as a breakaway civilization, a faction of society speedily progressing unknown to the rest of its constituents. If the breakaway civilization becomes so much more precocious than the rest of the population, it has the potential to become a separate species from that which it derived. As such, it's possible a certain sect of humanity have secretly advanced so much further than the remainder of us, they no longer are us, but rather something else. Quote, you see them on the street. You watch them on TV. You might even vote for one this fall. You think they're people just like you. You're wrong. Dead wrong. Unquote. They live. We're imparted cell phones, wireless internet, and amusing computer games. As such, we think we're advanced. We might know how to use this technology to minimal extent, but can we create it? Could you construct a smartphone from scratch? Moreover, whilst entertaining ourselves with vacuous apps, praising our fallacious ingenuity, what technology are those behind the scenes employing? It's possible, with how expeditiously industrialization has advanced in the last century, a device 50 years more state-of-the-art than what the public has access to may appear, in the eyes of an ignorant population, indistinguishable from magic. Ponder how slowly technology advanced from 1000 AD to 1800 AD. Thus, if we were to bring a laptop computer back to society 500 years ago, we'd probably be viewed as a heretic, witch, or god.